Welcome everyone. It is 3 p.m. and it's time for the Server Room Show. This is episode 65. In this episode, I will talk about alternative for Google Workspace. I previously used Google's Workspace Business Starter, which was formerly called G Suite Basic, to host my emails for this podcast. For the domain tsr-podcast.com, and to have the additional perks which came with this Google Workspace Business Starter subscription. I will detail them in a second. I was paying €5.66 per month, including VAT, for more or less the below features to my knowledge. So €5.66 per month with VAT. It was for one user subscription, as I'm only myself. I will say now that I don't think that it was a lot of money. It was okay. I was looking for an alternative for a while, not because I wanted to save money, but as always, when you start looking for alternative, the reason behind most of the time is the thought that you might get a better deal elsewhere. It doesn't mean that for less money, but it definitely can mean that for the same amount of money you can get more out of what you are getting actually at the moment. So yeah, I don't think that normally the reasons are to save money, but to get more value for your money. The features I had with my G Suite Basic, or Google's Workspace Business Starter, as per its new name, subscription, are the below, to the best to my knowledge. Google Drive, up to 30 gigabyte of space. However, this 30 gigabyte counts towards both the space you use on the Gmail for your emails, storing your emails, and also the space you use on your Google Drive. So it's not 30 gigabyte of space for one or the other, or for one each, but it's a shared storage you share between your mail storage and your drive storage. So you have to keep this in mind. Gmail, which you probably all know, there is nothing special there to mention, apart from the possibility to use a custom domain, which in the case of Google, if I recall, it used to be free, or there was a way to have a custom domain as a non-profit or something like this. I remember from far back in the past. But since the introduction of this G Suite and this Google Workspace, I remember that option went away, and the only way to use your custom domain, which my main goal was, or my main goal is at this point, to be able to use my own domain with emails, became definitely a paid option only, at least with Google, because you will see that some other services, even on their free tier, they offer the possibility to use a custom domain, to host your own domain for your emails. Google Calendar, again, nothing special in case of a Google Calendar. Google Meet, the meeting application, or the meeting part of Google, to be able to do audio video meetings up to 100 participants. However, in this subscription I had for the price I mentioned, I had no recording feature, and it was not something I was really happy about. I really expected to have a recording function. a standard Google online office suite, the docs, the sheet, the slide, nothing special or nothing fancy there. Google Chat, again, it's not very useful when you are the only one user, so yeah, nothing there. Then there are these additional Google applications or services. I didn't really play too much with them. Google Keep is for online note taking from Google. Google Site is to create kind of like a corporate intranet website, pretty much with zero programming very easily. Google Currents, kind of social networking for your company, like an internal social network. And Google Forms, this one I did use occasionally to create forms and surveys. So, as mentioned, looking for alternatives. When someone looks for Google's Workspace alternatives or any alternative in that sense, he or she does look for much more than a simple email provider or host or service, as Google's Workspace, similar to its alternatives, they tend to be a complete suite of solutions and tools to help provide context to all the different information reaching us via various channels and applications, therefore being able to be more productive and make the best use of available information whenever and wherever we need it, without the need to jump between many different applications, sites or tools of collaboration. A single suite or solution to handle all the team collaboration requirements, such as the group chats, video meetings, even this corporate intranet portal can be very useful, or even the opportunity to be able to host a knowledge base for your team or for your company, together with the basics like email and shared cloud storage, shared calendar, of course, is key not to make simple tasks overly complex while maintaining kind of like power features and advanced options for those power users to take the most out of these services. The reasons why I started to look for alternatives were, I did mention a couple of these in the beginning of this episode. I was looking for more tools and features, at least for the same money, but money was not the factor which sent me down to this rabbit hole of searching for alternatives to Google's Workspace, as my plan was not to cut down on cost. I did mention, so it was to try to get more value for my money somewhere else, which is not Google. You will see some more reasons in a second. I wanted more space for my cloud drive and documents, definitely, because I think 30 gigabyte as a paid Google's Workspace customer, it was not really much. If I'm not mistaken, 30 gigabyte is the amount of space you would get anyway with a free Google account, so to say. So I did expect something better at that department, to be honest. I definitely wanted something which looked different as Google's design, and because the look doesn't really appeal to me too much. Now, it can be that I used Google services for a long time, not just personally, but in a professional setting as well. And as it is a tool I've used and use at the moment at my work in a professional setting, maybe that's why that design just keep reminding me of work and not something else, so to say. So I cannot really detach myself fully when I keep looking at the same interface. I know this might be silly for some people, but I don't know how to explain it any better. It was keep reminding me like if I was in at work or something, and looking at my work emails or something. However, it was not the case. But yeah, this may be just a silly argument on my part, but it is true that the design of Google is not very modern or innovative in any way. So I know it's it different between people. So one thing you like, I might not, and vice versa. But yeah, the design didn't really appeal to me for a long time. Not just since I use it at work as well. And I think the main issue was that I wanted my privacy back, or at least some of my privacy back, and I knew it meant to break up my relationship with Google, at least in this professional level. I cannot yet step away from my Android phone. I'm not one of the brave ones like some of you I know doing this Android phone. It's not Picophone and Pocophone. Now, for the love of God, I don't remember the name, but I do remember a friend of mine who has a cat named Ben, who rocks some of these awesome Linux-based phones, I think, and they are great in privacy and everything. But I think those phones cost nearly as much as a flagship phone. I have a Samsung Note 10 Plus. I think it cost pretty much as my Samsung phone I got in an offer. But anyway, you know which phones I mean. I just don't remember the name, and I'm not gonna Google it now at this moment. But yeah, I meant those phones. I should step away from Android phones. I definitely stepped away from iPhones for the same privacy reasons, but I know that I could do better. I'm just stuck with those apps on Android. I think this last point regarding privacy perhaps is the one to which many of you can relate to. Features and tools are not so relevant to some, and regarding space, what might be not enough for one can be plenty for another, and it's very subjective in that sense. Similar to the argument of a UI design, like Google's design was not appealing to me, and maybe it's appealing to many of you. I think, however, that privacy is the most universal and common ground between all of us out there, and it is something that we can all relate to in the same fashion, in the way that we want more of our privacy back. I think at least most of us do. Now I know that there is, as I heard so many times, the nothing to hide argument, which states that individuals have no reason to fear or oppose surveillance programs unless they are afraid it will uncover their own illegal activities. An individual using this argument may say that an average person should not worry about government surveillance, or in this case, Google reading your emails, and then you receive the emails you receive and send, and as a bare minimum, it results being bombarded with Google ads in return, which Google thinks relevant to these emails you sent and receive. For example, you send to your friend an email where you talk about toasters to make toast from bread, not flying saucers and flying toasters. Toasters are not flying, but who knows? And then suddenly the next Google ads you see all around, no matter which page you go, is offers on toasters and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. I think this nothing to hide argument is not correct in the sense that we should not be under any surveillance, and yeah, just that's it. We should not be under any surveillance, and if an individual doesn't want to be under any surveillance, constant or not, then I think he or she should have the right to do so, not because there is any illegal activity you want to hide, but I think it's pretty much the same reason why you don't put cameras everywhere in your house, and why don't you put your whole life on the internet 24/7 so others can look at it and enjoy, so to say. If your house had webcams everywhere and 24/7 some other people could watch you. I think it's pretty much the same reason why you don't want anyone to read your emails or whatnot, or other activities you do online, not because you have anything to hide, but it's pretty much the same that you don't put cameras up in your house and let people just watch you as their amusement, so to say. Arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is then therefore no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. So yeah, when you put it in this context, maybe it shines some light to this privacy issue for people who say, no, I have nothing to hide, so I don't care if anyone looks at my emails or looks at my browser history or the products I purchase online and whatnot. But without getting into this argument, personally, I just wanted Google to bombard me with less Google as relevant or irrelevant to the context of my emails. And anyway, like I said, why anyone should read my emails and use it anyway, and not because I have anything in particular to hide, or the things said in that context of any of my emails could not be said openly to the face of the Earth's population in general, even though they would not care much about what I had to say about anything in my emails, to be honest. Competitors to Google's Workspace, I came across a few. Bittrex24 has a free tier. Their plans, however, more expensive than what I was paying with Google Actual. I see them more focused on CRM, customer relationship management, and project management, as much as I could understand. Rackspace now has this Rackspace Email Plus package, which is quite affordable, $3.99 US dollars per user per month. Has hosted email, calendar, contacts, 30 gigabyte of cloud drive, Office compatible apps. However, there is no mention of slide or PowerPoint kind of app. Only mentions Word and Excel compatible ones. Office 365. The thing is that I'm not sure that the move away from Google would be to go towards Microsoft. So honestly, I didn't investigate this avenue any further. Same page has a free tier, but their standard and pro subscriptions are more expensive than my actual Google account or Google subscription was. It seems it has no presentation app like Slide or PowerPoint, but it seems more focused for task and event management and project management requirements. Zoho's bundle called Workplace, all the tools to work in one integrated suite. This looks for me the closest to what Google's Workspace standard is. In this particular bundle, there is no CRM, no project management, but yes, on email, Office tools, shared drive, and online meeting platform, with the additional GChat alternative and other matching offers, of course. Only Office Community Edition with email It is interesting because I'm already hosting the Office Suite and Project Management part of only Office Community Edition for a long time, and I could just add the mail server portion myself completely free. However, I would need to make sure I have necessary disk space to store the emails and storage for the next cloud or the cloud drive integration part as well. So while it is a great solution, it's a self-hosted one, and at this particular moment or at this time for this alternative, I would like to go for a hosted solution as I had before. OnlyOffice has hosted solutions, however, for enterprises, but it's very expensive compared to the competitors out there. Also, they are for much more user counts than the one user I am myself. So I think their lowest user counts were like at least in 50 or 100 or even more. I don't remember exactly, to be honest. Zoho Workplace Professional Workspace Email Plus package did look very interesting, and definitely the price was right. It was cheaper than what I was paying to Google Workspace Standard, but I missed a few things like the online meetings and the slide presentation app, and also the storage was pretty much the same I have already had with Google. Well, the difference was that the 30 gigabyte storage for files was with Workspace Email Plus, and you had 25 gigabytes for mailbox versus the 30 gigabyte for everything, mail and cloud drive, as it was with Google. So eventually you got more space, so you got 30 gigabyte just for storage of your files, and 25 gigabyte nearly another 30 again for your mailbox. But I would do miss the presentation application and the online meetings one whenever I need to use those. As you might have guessed, I have chosen Zoho Workplace Professional annual subscription to replace my Google Workspace Business Starter monthly subscription. I will try and detail out the reasons for this as best as possible, but I say one thing straight away: it was not to save money, as I mentioned in the very beginning. Zoho Workspace Professional cost me 66.65 cents euros per year, with VAT included for one user, which comes down to 5.55 euros per month per user with VAT. And yes, if you paid attention to how much I was charged per month with Google Workspace Business Standard, including VAT, it is only 10 euro cents cheaper per month. So it's about 1.2 euros in a year what I save. However, I want to believe, and when I listed out the benefits of Zoho Workplace versus Google's Workspace and Business Starter, I think I made the most out of my money and getting the most features, even if some of them are silly, just like with Google's Workspace when we are talking about a one user account scenario. Just like with Google Services, Gmail, Google Docs, Google Drive, and so on, many of the features of Zoho is available with a free tier or a free Zoho account. I mentioned, without the sake of completeness, just a list of some of the free tiers of Zoho services. Zoho Mail, it has a forever free plan up to 5 users, 5 gigabyte per user, and a 25 megabyte mail attachment limit. This limit, however, used to be up to 25 users free for enterprises, but now it's down to 5 users. Well, I think it's a bummer, because it was great for small enterprises or startups to up to 25 users. They could be free, even though with these limits. And then after the 26th account, they had to move all their accounts to paid one. It's a bit sad to see that go. Web access and free mobile apps, and email hosting for a single domain. But I mentioned in the beginning that there are free plans where you can use your own domain, no problem, and this Zoho Mail is one of them. However, in this free forever plan, IMAP, POP, and ActiveSync are not included. So it's just webmail and accessing your mails via the mobile apps. Zoho Office, Zoho Writer, Zoho Sheet, Zoho Show, and Zoho Notebook, free for individuals, also ad-free and secure. It can sync across devices, collaborate with others, mobile apps and online versions. Zoho Writer has a beta desktop app as well for Windows, Mac, and Linux. However, the Linux is only in Ubuntu-based distributions in a .deb package, unfortunately. Zoho Workplace free plan, which is pretty much Zoho Office plus Zoho Drive plus Zoho Mail, as I outlined previously. Zoho has much more services like CRM and human resourcing and finance and IT management, but I talk about the ones relevant to me or to my search in the alternative solution for Google Workspace Standard. I linked in the show notes a plan comparison for Zoho Workplace editions, so you can see the tiniest details like mail attachment size, limit, and maximum upload size for a single file in case of a workplace drive storage and so on. I decided on Zoho Workplace Professional plan for one user for the aforementioned amount of money per year, including a discount for non-profits. And I think a very short summary as best as I could make of the differences I can see compared to my old Google Workspace Standard plan. The Zoho Work Drive, which is the Google Drive equivalent, I now have 100 gigabyte per user, and the mail storage of another 100 gigabyte separate, compared to on Google Drive I had 30 gigabyte, which was shared between mail and the Google Drive storage. So it was a shared 30 gigabyte for all. Now I have 100 gigabyte for the drive and 100 gigabyte separate for the mail storage. The mail attachment limit is up to 40 megabyte with this package, and there is also a huge file limit up to 1 gigabyte. Google has this attachment limit on 25 megabytes. Zoho Work Drive 5 upload limit is on 1 gigabyte. Google has no file size limit on a single file, which is definitely the upper hand for Google, but it does mention a theoretical limit of 5 terabyte of a single file size. I can have multiple external links for shared files to share with other people, and the clients for desktop and mobile apps for syncing this Drive account. Zoho Meeting, the Google Meet alternative, again 100 participants, no difference there, but I can now store up to 10 recordings. With Google Workspace Business Starter I had 100 participants, but up to 100 participants, but I had no recording feature. It was in higher tier offerings. Zoho Notes, equivalent to Google Keep. Zoho Connect is the Google site alternative. I've not really used this neither in Google, not here just yet. And Zoho Click is Google Chat's alternative. As a one-user subscription, again, it's not something I will explore much further. Zoho Mail, on the Mail app I can do sender-based notification, so I can make a list of senders I want to be notified about on my phone when I receive an email from them. I like this approach better than this important/priority emails notification of Google, and I feel like I have more granular control with this Zoho approach. I'm running out of time, but in the show notes you can find more information regarding the workspace layout I really liked, and a bit about the Zoho Office suite. Definitely the material left in the show notes is not enough for a second episode, so please read it yourself if you're interested. It goes into the Office suite and the mail and the overall layout of the workspace, Zoho Workspace app as a single pane of glass. And yeah, I ran out of time again. Thank you very much, and see you next Saturday.